Oceanicot, Galeele Jageto Kohik, He Jalaki Nakine, RSU TV, Chicananukoka, Wade Blevins, Dawadon, Jalaki Gantino Unole, Dawadon, Kohik, Gay Jalaki de Lo Quaste, Squeeze Jigata Kohik, Akayi, Diniotlik, Kano Gisti, Dadino Gisi. Nole, nada neha, nanda neha, da del. Welcome. This is Cherokee 4 on RSU TV. I'm very happy to be here. My name is Wade Blevins, and this is our first Cherokee lesson for Cherokee 4. So first, we are going to go over a children's song. If you've tuned into Cherokee 1, 2, and 3, you know that I'm a big advocate of singing to learn. It's a great way to learn and to memorize vocabulary and things like that. And then next, we're going to learn a little bit about verbs. Of course, as you know, the method that I use, we don't use a lot of grammar. However, at this point, hopefully you have enough vocabulary that we can introduce just a little bit of grammar. Really, it's just to kind of give you that aha moment, and you're like, oh, that's why it works that way, or that's why. So here on Cherokee 4, we're going to talk a little bit about grammar, but don't freak out. It's going to be fine. I'm going to explain it the best way that I know how. And even if the grammar part doesn't interest you or anything like that, you can still get a lot from this set of lessons. So come, Idalena, talagi dione. We'll go ahead and get started. So what we're going to do is, as you know, we're going to do as much as we can in the syllabary. This is just as much for your benefit as it is for mine. Because, of course, there aren't a lot of opportunities to read in Cherokee, so we're going to read as much as we can in Cherokee because that improves our reading fluency. So the song that we have today, probably by the picture you can guess what the song is about. This song is, I think, in my opinion, it's a great song if you're teaching others. If you are a teacher, or if you're teaching a niece or a nephew or somebody like that. One of the things that everyone wants to know is family members, right? They want to learn family. And this song is a great way to introduce family members. And I'll kind of talk, once we go through the song, I'll talk a little bit about how you can use it for yourself, or if you're going to use it to teach others. So let's go through, and we're going to read through here. And then we'll translate it, and then we'll talk about the song, and we'll sing it. This song is actually a Chinese or a Mandarin children's song that's based on a Russian folk tale, and in Chinese it's called "Pull the Carrot." Okay, and it's a very kind of common kids song in Mandarin, and of course our word for carrot, "delonige anil disk," is a very, very long word, and it's hard to fit into the song. So we're going to change it to this first word you see up here, daksani. Okay, if you look here, it says da qui sa ni. Okay, when we pronounce it, however, we say daksani, daksani. Okay, and that, of course, is a turnip. Daksani is a turnip. So it says daksani. Daksani, hin sanegi, hin na sanegi. Okay, and then of course it says it again, hin sanegi. okay? Um, if you'll notice, I'm not saying the na, hin na san ne gi. Instead, you say hin san ne gi, hin san ne gi. Okay, and that means that's a command, and it's telling somebody pull, pull. Okay, hin san ne gi, pull. Okay, you might recognize, I don't know, your ear might recognize that part of that word sounds very familiar. At one point, we talked about a Cherokee man by the name of Salol Gansin, right? Squirrel dragger. It can also be squirrel puller, okay? Squirrel dragger or squirrel puller. And then, of course, most people know jiu gansin, dragging canoe, right, or canoe dragger. So hin sanegi means pull it, okay? And then this says tla yi jin si nega, okay? Tla yi jin ne si ne ga. Okay, that means I can't pull it. Okay, I can't. So this is basically it says the turnip, pull it. I can't. Tla yi jin ne si ne ga. Okay, and then here is the part that the whole reason why I chose it. It says eduda, ehena. Eduda, you might know, eduda means grandfather. Eduda. Or edud or duda. There are different ways that you can say it. But we're going to say eduda because it fits in the song, okay? But just be aware, of course, by now, as you know, there are lots of different ways to say these words. You can cut them off in different ways. You can say edud or duda or eduda, okay? Either way is fine. Ehena means come here. So eduda, ehena, okay? Eliwus, okay, you might recognize that word. It means are you able or can you, okay? Eliwus, is it possible, okay? Yiga stela wu, can you help me, okay? Eliwus yigstela wu, okay? The wu, if you remember from previous Cherokee lessons, that wu just means just, okay? So you can say, Eli wu shigstela means, can you help me? In this case, it says, Eli wu shigstela wu, can you just help me? Okay? Eli wu shigstela wu, okay? Duda, ehena, grandpa, come here. And then it says jilu gi, means I'm coming. Okay, jilu gi, I'm arriving. Okay, or it can even mean like I'm here. This word can mean a lot of different things. So let's read through it one more time, at least one more time. So this says, Daksani, hinsanegi, Tla yijine sinega, Okay, eduda, ehena, eliwus yigstelawu. Duda, ehena, jiluki. Okay? The tune to it is fairly simple. I'll do my best. Of course, as you know, I'm not the best singer in the world, but that doesn't matter because we're not trying to get on, we're not trying to get on You Can Be a Star or anything like that. Of course, back in my day, it was Star Search, but I'm quite a bit older probably than a lot of you. But the whole purpose is for us to learn, right? So it's got a lot of repetition in it, which is good. So it says, Daksani, Daksani, Hinsanegi, Hinsanegi, Tlayi jine sinega, Tlayi jine sinega, Eduda, Ehena, Eliwus yigstelawu, Duda, Ehena, Jiluki, Jiluki. Okay? So, we'll sing through it one more time and then we'll talk about it, okay? So it says, Daksani, Daksani, Hinsanegi, Hinsanegi, Tlayi jine sinega, Tlayi jine sinega, Eduda, Ehena, Eliwus yigstelawu, Duda, Ehena, Jiluki, Jiluki. Okay, now if you'll notice, I made a mistake here. The first time I have this, I can't pull it. I say, Tla yijine sinega. Okay, I can't pull it. Other communities will say it this way, Tla yijini sinegi. Okay, Tla yijini sinegi. Sinegi. Okay, so it's two different ways to say I can't pull it, okay? And I forgot to make it, consistent. I changed it in the first one and didn't change it in the second. So just be aware. We're going to use this Tlayi jine sinega, okay? So in the story, there's a great big carrot. This, like I said, this is a Russian tale. There was a great big carrot, and this child tries to pull the carrot and can't pull the carrot, and so then asked his grandfather to come help. And so the grandfather grabs a hold, and they both pull on the carrot, and they can't do it. And then they ask their grandma to come and help pull the carrot, and they can't pull. And then they ask another person and another person, on and on and on, until they have this big line of people, and they're all pulling on the carrot. And then finally it comes up. This is a very common Russian tale. At one time, of course, Russia and China had a very, very close relationship together. And so it became a children's song in Mandarin. And then now we're going to make it into a Cherokee song. The reason being, we can add as many family members as we want, okay? Of course, we started out with Eduda, and then we can add other family members, Elisi, Eji, Edoda, Eduji, Etloki, we can add all these different family members. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to sing the first verse one more time, and then we're going to look at the second verse because it's going to change, okay? And we're going to talk about that. So it says, Daksani, Daksani, Hinsanegi, Tlayi jine sinega, Tlayi jine sinega, Eduda, Ehena, Eliwus yigstelawu, Duda, Ehena, Jiluki. Okay, now the second one, let's look through here. So it says, Daksani, Daksani. Now, if you see here, okay, the first one said Hinsanegi. This says Steensanegi, Steensanegi. That means you too pull it, because now we have the original child and his grandfather both pulling on the turnip. So you have to say Steensanegi, you too pull it, okay? Tla Yostinisinego. Okay? Tla yostinisinego. Okay? So we can't pull it. The two of us cannot pull it. Okay? Tla yostinisinego. Okay? Tla yostinisinego. Okay? Elisi, which is grandmother. Elisi, ehena, grandma, come here. Eliwus yigstela, can you help? Elisi, ehena, jiluki. Yiski stela, can you help us? Yiski stela. Okay, so let's see if we can fit that into the song. So, Daksani, steen sanegi, tlayostini sinega, elisi, ehena, eliwus yiski stela, elisi, ehena, jiluki. Okay, so we've taught two family members. We've taught Eduda and Elisi, grandfather and grandmother. Then we can do even more. We can go on to the third verse. And again, we're going to have to change the verbs a little bit. So it says, Daksani, ijin sanegi. Okay, means all of you pull it, more than two. Okay, ijin sanegi. All of you pull it, because now we have three people, right? We have the child, we have the child's grandfather, and the child's grandmother, all three pulling on the turnip. So you'd have to say ijin sanegi. Okay, all of you pull. Okay, and then it says tla yojini sinega. Okay, tla yojini sinega. Okay, so we can't pull it. Eti, mother in this case. Mom, ehena, eti, ehena. Eliwus yiski stela. Okay, can you help us? Eliwus yiski stel, can you help? Eti, ehena, jiluki. Okay, so then it would be daksani, ijin sanegi, tlayojini sinega, eji, ehena, eliwushiski stela, eji, ehena, jiluki. Okay, and if you'll notice, down here I've added other family members. You could do edoda, father. So put that, and once you've gotten at least three people pulling the turnip, then we're going to keep this verse the rest of the time. So you can add as many as you want. You can add as many. Family members as you would like. Of course, down here I've chosen edoda, etloki, works really well. Eduji, I misspelled it. Eduji, uncle, that should be do, not di. Kito, a sibling of the opposite sex. So if you're a boy, it would be your sister. If you're a girl, it would be your brother. Okay, jostatala, right? Jostatanatli, which is brother. A boy talking about his brother. Jostatala is a girl talking about her sister. Okay, jostatanatli. Okay, so you can add all of those in there and just keep singing the song, right? This song is really, really good, I think, for teaching family members. And it's also really good to teach how the verb changes. It's very similar to when we did the song about the ducks, about the 5 little ducks, right? Hiski kawana need underwater, right? And then when we got down to one duck, the verb had to change, right? Because talking about one duck and talking about a lot of ducks is different in Cherokee. So, um, the verbs change. And so that's one of the things we're going to talk about today is how those verbs are going to change. But you can add as many family members as you want. What they do, what I know that they do a lot of times in schools, when they do this song in Mandarin, they'll have children act it out, and they'll have one child come up, and everybody will sing the song together, and then they'll have one person pretend, like here where I have the quotes, then the child will say, let's go back to right here. So, everyone will sing the song all the way through to the very last line. And then the child will say, Duda, Duda, ehena. And then whoever's playing the part of the grandfather, then he'll say, Jiluki, Jiluki. And then he'll go and then he'll grab onto the waist of the child, and then they'll both pull together. They'll pretend to pull. And then they'll add, and then you can add as many family members as you like, or as you have children in the class, or students, I should say students in the class, because I shouldn't just assume that this is for children. This works for adults. We as adults, we get earworms, right, as well. Do you ever wake up? I know I do. I wake up with songs in my head, songs that I don't even know that I know the words to, but they're all rattling around in my brain, and it gets a little earworm in there. And so it just, we should take advantage of that and use that to help us learn new language. So if we use songs, it's a great way for our subconscious mind to kind of get those words and sounds in there for us. So we'll go ahead and I'll sing it through one more time just so you can hear how it changes, okay? So, Didi Nogi. Daksani, hinsanegi, Tlayi jine sinega, tlayi jine sinega, eduda, ehena, eliwushiske stela, yig stela wu, sorry, see, I messed up. Okay. Eliwushig stela wu, duda, ehena, tiluki. Daksani, steensanegi, tlayostini sinega, elisi, ehena, eliwushiski stela, elisi, ehena, tiluki. Then, daksani, ijin sanegi, tlayojini sinega, eji, ehena, eliwushiski stela, eji, ehena, tiluki. Now let's try it down here with edoda. Daksani, ijin sanegi, tlayojini sinega, edoda, ehena, eliwushiski stela, edoda, ehena, tiluki. Okay, we could do it with etlog, aunt. Daksani, ijin sanegi, tlayojini sinega, etlogi, ehena, eliwushiski stela, etlogi, ehena, tiluki. So you see how that works, right? Then we could go on and we could do it with eduji, agito. It would be probably harder to do with jostadala or jostadanatli. Let's see. Let's try it with jostadanatli, and let's just see if we can make it fit, just to see. So it would be daksani, ijin sanegi, tlayojini Tlayojini senega, Jostadana tle ehena, Elewushigi stela, Jostadana tle ehena, Jiluki. So it does work. You just gotta, you just have to be kind of quick with it, right? So, but we can get it in there. So all of these words will theoretically work in the song. So it's just limited by which words you want to teach. You could even, I could see this if I were back in the classroom, I could see me teaching just the first day or maybe even the first week, depending on the age. I might just teach this very first verse until I feel like they've really got it. And then I would add an extra person, maybe the next week or the next day. And then I might add a third the next time, and then keep on going until they've learned all of their family members. So a lot of times, we as teachers, and I used to do it as well, we would do these thematic units. For example, we might do colors, or we might do numbers, or we might do family members, and that's fairly common to do. And then what we would do is we would give them a whole big list of colors, and a whole big list of numbers, and a whole big list of family members, and a whole big list of occupations and things like that, And we found that that's not really how our brain acquires. We acquire words as we need them. And so, I recommend that rather than choosing that as the theme, you might do maybe 3 family members and no more in the beginning. And then you might add a few more later on, and then a few more later on, because studies have shown that this is kind of how our brain best acquires, and easiest way that it acquires language. For example, a lot of these words, these family members that we have in here, you've had them before. We've had them in some of the stories that we've done. We've had them in some of the other songs that we've done and things like that. So they're not brand new to you. And so now I feel comfortable, like, for you guys, that I could kind of put them all in a list for the first time. And you're like, oh, here they all are together. Why didn't you do that in the beginning? And now you know why, is because I wanted you to become familiar with the words first, and then we can go back and we can kind of categorize them, because that's what we like to do, right? We like to put things in nice little neat categories, but that's not really how our brain acquires the language that we use, okay? So right here, I just put the 3 different versions of to pull, the command, pull it, okay? Hinsanegi, you pull it. Stinsanegi, you too pull it. Ijinsanegi, all of y'all pull it, right? That's an Oklahoma word, by the way, if you're not from Oklahoma. Ijin, y'all, okay? All y'all, right? Hinsanegi, you pull. Steen Sanegi, you too pull. Ijin Sanegi, all of you pull. Ijin Sanegi. Okay? What we call this, or what linguists like to call this, or what language teachers like to call this, is conjugation. Right? We take a verb and we conjugate it. It's and I know when I was in school, I took Spanish, and I hated conjugating. I hated learning how to conjugate, and really all conjugation means is we go through and we take one word and we say it all the different ways that the verb will change depending on what our subject is, what we're talking about, right? The subject is just what the sentence is about. So in this case, we have 3 conjugations. We have you too, and all of you, right? So we have you singular, you dual, D-U-A-L, okay? Dual meaning 2, and then you plural, all of you, okay? All of you over there, like a classroom of you, all of you pull. Right? Hinsanegi, stinsanegi, ijinsanegi. So this is called conjugation. All right? And so we're going to talk a little bit about conjugation. I've held off all the way till Cherokee 4 before we really got into conjugation. Okay, so the word verb in Cherokee, nada neha, and it's like it's really what it's doing. You know, it's the word adane. He's doing it, right? Nada neha. Okay, what it's doing. Okay. So that's our Cherokee translation for the word verb. Not, and that was developed in the consortium. I think you've heard me talk about the Cherokee Consortium before. It's first language speakers from Cherokee Nation, United Kituah Band of Indians, and the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians, and they all get together twice a year. No, they get together maybe 4 times a year. And they go over modern words and things, concepts that we don't really have in our language. And then they come up with ways to say that in Cherokee. So this is one of those, verb, you know, nada neha, okay? In Cherokee, verbs are divided into 2 different sets, okay? We have a set A, what linguists like to call set A, and they have set B, okay? In English, we have 2 different kinds of verbs. They're divided into transitive verbs and intransitive verbs. Transitive verbs are verbs that take an object, and an intransitive verb is a verb that does not need an object. Okay, so for example, well, we can take the word bite. Okay. In English, the word bite can be both transitive and intransitive, okay? You can say, the dog bites his leg, okay? And in that case, it's transitive because the dog is our subject, bites is our verb, and his leg is the object of what it is he's biting, right? And so in that case, it makes it transitive. It's taking the action from the subject to the object and transferring it, going across, transferring it to the object. So the dog bites his leg, okay? Or the dog bites the mailman, okay? Same difference. It's still transitive. We can, however, in common usage, we can use the word bites intransitively as well. We can say, be careful, that dog bites, right? There's no object in that sentence. In that case, the word bites then becomes intransitive, okay? So in Cherokee, however, we have, and I used to think that, because again, linguistics is not my thing, it's not my area of interest or expertise. I used to think that set A was kind of like intransitive verbs and set B was transitive verbs, but that's not necessarily true. So, and matter of fact, I thought that was so true that I had even typed it up into my lesson, and then I was like, well, maybe I need to double check myself. And so I started, speaking with linguists and looking at their research and stuff, and found out that that's not necessarily true. So then I had to take it out, and we had to think about doing it a different way. Anyway, today we are going to learn about set B pronoun prefixes. Probably by now you have realized that Cherokee verbs have the pronoun already built into the verb. We already know who we're talking about because of the beginning prefix, meaning in the front, right? Because of the prefix in the verb, we know who they are talking about. So we're going to look at a chart of the set B prefixes for an intransitive verb or a transitive verb where the object is it, okay? So I know that doesn't really make a lot of sense. Don't worry about it. You don't need that part, okay? So if we look, set B, the I is agi, 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 okay? The U prefix is ja, okay? And the he, she, or it prefix is u, u, okay? So you might be asking, what does that mean? That makes zero sense. Well, let's stick it onto a verb and let's skip through that, but let's stick it onto a verb and we will see how that works in action, okay? So let's use a word we already know. We know the word hungry. If you see here, I've put yoshi. That's the root, okay? That's the nugget, okay? The kernel of truth in this. And so if we take yoshi, you'll see here it is, and here it is, and here it is. And then we just took these prefixes, these sounds, right here, agi, ja, and u, and we just tagged them to the front, okay? So agi yoshi means I am hungry, okay? So it's an intransitive verb because there's nothing else that goes with it, right? It's just I'm hungry. Agi yoshi, I'm hungry. Agi yoshi, okay? Ja yoshi, remember, ja is our prefix, yoshi is our nugget, so ja yoshi, you are hungry, okay? Then the he, she, it prefix is u, so u yoshi, he or she is hungry, okay? U yoshi. So the example that I put is a very, very common thing. I use it all the time. I ask my daughter all the time. I say, ja yosis means, are you hungry? And her answer would be, agi yosi. Okay, or she could say, kla yagi yosi. Okay, kla yagi yosi. Or we could say, agi yosi. I am hungry. Okay, another sentence off the top of my head. How would you say the dog, which is git, how would you say the dog is hungry? The dog is hungry. How would you make that sentence? The dog is hungry. I'll give you a couple seconds to kind of think your way through it. So if you said git uyoshi, git uyoshi, okay? The dog is hungry. Git uyoshi, okay? So you see how that works, right? We used uyoshi, which means he, she, or it is hungry, right? And then we just put whatever our subject was in front, the dog. You know, you could put the man, ashkai uyoshi. A man is hungry. A man is hungry. Na ashkai uyoshi. That man is hungry. That specific man, he is hungry, okay? Na ashkai uyoshi. Okay? So you see how that works. See, conjugation is not something to be afraid of. We're just going to take it in small bites, and we're going to figure it out together, okay? So let's take another one. To be angry, okay? So the word to be angry is nala. So you can tell I'm breathing through my nose as I say na, right? Nala is to be angry, all right? So if you want to say I am angry, again, we take the prefix for I, which is agi, and we add it to nala, agi nala. I'm angry, agi nala. I'm angry, okay? You can say, then if you want to say you are angry, we would take the you prefix, which is ja, jahnala, okay? Or you could say he or she is angry, uhnala, okay? So agi, ja, and u. Now, in no way is this the whole list of prefixes. And that's where it gets goofy. But we're going to just take it a small bit at a time and we'll get through it, okay? So you can see here, uhnalas nakit, Is that dog angry? Unalas nagit. Is that dog angry? Okay. Unalas nagit. Okay. You can also use it with nouns, which is the weird thing about Cherokee is you can take a noun and you can verbify it. So we can take one of the words that we had in our song. Okay, we can use eji, mother. Okay, when you use it that way, eji, that's if you're talking directly to your mom. Eji, eji. Okay. However, we can use that agi, ja, and u to indicate possession when it comes to family members. Okay, so you can say agichi, agichi, my mother. So maybe I was talking to a group of you, and I could say agichi, Peggy Blevins do don. Okay, my mother, her name is Peggy, right? Agichi. So you see how that works. Jaji, jaji, your mother. Okay, and we have this kind of humor, this joke thing in some Cherokee communities when somebody's talking and they come across and they say a word that is like the last name of people in your community. For example, you might say wolf or bird or even on the hill. And if it comes up that when you can get ones like that, that's like a red letter day. But when somebody says that and you're talking to somebody and they'll say, "Oh, well, that person lives up on the hill," and on the hill is a Cherokee last name, and so they'll say, "Oh, Jajita," that means that's your mom, right? And so that's where Jaji, okay, your mom, your mother. Okay, so it's very similar in English. They'll say, "Oh, your mom," or whatever. We do that in Cherokee, but we do it in a little bit different way. And just say, "Chachita," that's your mom, right? Uji, his or her mother. Okay. However, you cannot use aki, ja, and u. Like we couldn't use it for like animals. We couldn't say like agikitli. Right? My dog. We can't say that. I don't know why you can't. You just can't. It doesn't make sense. Or jagitli, your dog. You can't use it that way. So, but we can use it with family members. So eji, mom, if you're talking to your mom. Agichi, my mom. Jaji, your mom. Uji, his or her mom. Right? So we could say, I don't know, I can't think of a famous mother in history. I'm sure there are like, tons of them, but I can't even think of one right now. So, what's her name? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Akichi, chachi, uchi. Okay, you see how that works? So, we can even use it for verb like to have a living thing. Okay? Agika, we learned that word. I have it. I have something alive. Agika, jaka, uweka, right? Agika, ta, git, dogika. I have 2 dogs, right? I don't, but sawu wes agika. Sawu wes agika. I have 1 cat. Okay. Jaka. Wesas jaka. Do you have a cat? Uweka. The song that we did, bingo. Gitli uweka tikalo kiski. Right. The farmer has a dog. Right. In the examples. Ujiya agika, I have a worm, okay? Na ujiya dogika, I have the worms, okay? So we've learned in previous Cherokee lessons that if we put a D sound, like in the case of agika, If you have more than one thing, it's da gi ka. I have more than one thing. Okay? De cha ka. Okay? You have more than one thing that's living. U we ka becomes du we ka. They have more than one thing, right? So I think you probably have intuited that D sound makes things plural, but now we're making it kind of explicit in that I'm telling you that that's what's going on, right? So aki kan, za kan, uwe kan, okay? So agi, I, za, you, u, he or she. Okay? This is for set B verbs. And you might ask, well, how do I know what a set B verb is? You just have to learn. And that's why I didn't teach this until much, much later. Because now you already have some verbs and you can kind of maybe go through the verbs that are rattling around in your head and see if any of them fit, because then of course we do have other kinds of verbs. So not all of the verbs that we've had in the lessons this is gonna work for. This is only, certain ones. So there's a lot of them, but and maybe in the next class, maybe I'll make a list for you or something like that. But we're just about out of time. I had a few other things that I wanted for us to do today, but I feel like we don't have enough time remaining for me to dive into it. So when we come back, we're going to talk about classifying verbs, okay? So in Cherokee, you may or may not be aware, in Cherokee, a lot of very, very common verbs, we have 5 different ways to say it, depending on what it is. For example, to have, agi ka, you can use for talking about having living things. However, I could not say, awaduktinad agi ka, right? I can't say agi ka for having glasses, because glasses are not alive, right? I couldn't use that for digohuel, right? For paper, because paper is not alive. I couldn't use that for computer, okay? I can only use agi ka if the thing that I have is alive. And there are lots of very, very common verbs. Go get it, hand it to me, to have something. There are lots and lots of verbs that have different ways of saying it. And so when we come back, we're going to look at have, and we're going to look at the 5 different ways we can say have, okay? So that's all the time that we have for today. I just want to say wadon, thank you very much. I really do appreciate you tuning in, and we can get through it together. We're all learners, right? And I just want to say a quick thank you to Peggy Gertie Flute and Kathy Sierra for helping with the translations in this course and in the previous courses as well. So if you ever see them out and about, be sure and thank them. So from all of us here at RSU TV and Cherokee Nation, I just want to say, wadon, don dago ha'i.